All right. I do believe we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next installment of the SFF News and Interviews podcast. We are your source of news in our corner of publishing. I'm your host, Heather Dewey Pettit, and I am an author, editor, and artist. What ties all three of these things together is my love of science fiction and fantasy. I have a passion to help others achieve great writing. This project is very important to me as I aim to support authors and other creators by providing information on the field of publishing and related topics, as well as providing services, but more on that later. So because today I have a wonderful guest with me today, here with me to talk to you about a really cool subject, which is audiobook narration. Do you want to say a really quick hi?
A really quick hi.
Yes. Or you could say whatever you want.
Bonjour.
That works.
Bonsoir.
Okay. So for the news portion of our show, I like to discuss cool markets that fall under the speculative fiction umbrella, like writing contests, calls for submission, and books recently published this month by speculative fiction authors, because you got to know the trends, right? As well as relevant craft books. I'd like to be on the lookout for those sorts of things. So any other books that are needed by authors are included in this list, like possibly style guides, dictionaries, books about language and linguistics. If you know, you know. So I am looking to select just a couple of things to focus on for each show. So as not to overwhelm you guys with too much information. So also I like to talk about bookish events. Like related book cons and book festivals and writing conferences, that sort of thing. So let's see. Where like-minded folks like us, Perry, can find each other. Wink, wink. Let's see. So, especially cons, that is sci-fi and fantasy conventions, specific genre cons are a part of this group, like say anime conventions. So yes, events can also include bookstore openings. We've had a lot of that happening in our area, right, Perry? Pretty recently, over the last few months or so. Author readings and things like that. So again, I have no intention on overwhelming everybody. So I'm going to limit these to one or two, no more than 3 of these per show, to sort of save my voice and again, not overwhelm everybody. So let's see. So now we're going to move on to the interview portion of this show. Then we will move on to the interview portion of the show. Let's see. So today we have as our guest Perry Bruns. Welcome to the show, Perry.
Hello.
Awesome. So I think, let's see. Now, moving on to the news portion, I have a couple of things are happening in June, as well as towards the end of this month, which is coming up quickly, isn't it? My goodness.
It really is.
It's already the 21st. One thing that's sort of more nationally or even internationally. So a friend of mine that I met on YouTube, her name is Sarah Cannon. Now she has, I believe it's her sibling, is C.L. Cannon, who runs this wonderful website. It's called CLC L Cannon, CANNON.net. And so she's a writer, but she also, she does a lot of different things. But one thing that she does is she has these on her website. Let's see. Okay, 1 second. Okay, services. But the really cool thing that she does is she has these giveaways. The current one is her fantasy and sci-fi BookBub giveaway. So I thought people would be interested in this. Says you can follow some amazing authors on BookBub and be entered to win a $300 Amazon gift card. Multiple ways to enter, including some daily tasks. So that's very interesting. I have not done this yet, but I'm going to. I think I'm going to do this probably tomorrow, because why not? So yeah, win a $300 Amazon gift card. And yeah, that's very interesting. And so, yes, she runs a lot of giveaways. That's just the current one. All sorts of giveaways, and also there's a section of of her website where she has bookish contests. There's a young adult reader giveaway. This is a lot of these are specific to readers, but not necessarily, because we're all readers, right? So yeah, there's a sword and sorcery fan giveaway that includes books by John Gwynne, Brandon Sanderson, Terry Pratchett, and some others. Also, C.L. Cannon's fantasy and sci-fi book fair is coming up, looks like. All sorts of fun stuff. So yeah, that's clcannon.net. So there's that. And then let's see. So my focus for this specific show in terms of newly published books, as well as all of the news, everything is independent. We have independent books and independent an independent bookstore, actually, which is a pop-up bookstore, essentially, is going to be opening their brick-and-mortar store very, very soon here. So I will get that in just a second. I'm trying to look for my source for that, but I'm going to jump to the bookstore because I can't find that right now. Okay, so jumping to the bookstore. So locally here in Tampa Bay, where Perry and I live, there's this brand new brick-and-mortar store that should be opening somewhere between the end of this month and beginning of June. It's called Bookends, Literature and Libations. And you can find them on Instagram and Facebook at
On that note, I'll be right back.
Bookends Ybor. I'm going to write that one down. They also can be found at bookshop.org. Excuse me.
Sorry about that. I've now unvanished.
Oh. So, Bookends is a really interesting store that I'm really looking forward. There are a bunch of great people, and also I met them. They were at Necronomicon Tampa last year. They're the pop-up bookstore that had a space. I don't know if you remember this, Perry.
Yeah, I seem to recall they were right outside the dealer's room.
Yeah, they were right in front there, right catty corner of where Tim's On was. Okay, so unfortunately, I don't know why, I can't find my source at the moment for the some independent books being published, but apologies. And not only will I mention links, I will also make sure that links are included in the description. And I will also see about popping some links in the chat. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Oops, excuse me. Hello. Hi, Maggie. How are you doing? Maggie, this is my friend Perry. Perry, this is Maggie.
Howdy.
I believe I'm pointing in the right direction. Thank you for listening. Really appreciate that. Oh my goodness. I keep forgetting where my camera is. So yes, here is CL Cannon's website there. And I will get the other one up in just a minute. Let's see. Yes, apologies about getting my hand in the wrong place. Okay. So, that said, about recently published books, I do believe Miss Maggie has a book that got published pretty recently. Am I wrong? Please let me know. Write some really cool things, including mythology-inspired stories, especially Greek mythology. Fascinating stuff. Oh, enjoy your planting, your gardening. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move on. I'm going to move on to our interview. So let's see. Let's go ahead and, yes, definitely move on to the interview portion. So we'll talk to our awesome guest, Perry. Mr. Perry Bruns. And let's see. So let's go ahead and break the ice during this portion by asking you a question. Now, we're all of us word lovers, right?
Absolutely.
So what is your favorite word or turn of phrase that is prominent in our genres of publishing or even from fandom?
That's a tough question. I would have to say I love anything involved with a trope. So slow burn, enemies to lovers, a lot of this. My spouse writes fan fiction.
Right.
Primarily set in the Star Wars universe, but she's also done some stuff in the DC Comics universe. And she loves to mess with stuff. Like occasionally you'll see a particular plot thread in a long-running saga like Star Wars where, speaking of stuff that's fun, Penumbra Maggie says, I'm reading How to Become a Crazy Cat Lady to Survive the Zompocalypse on my writer reading podcast for Zombie Survival Awareness Month. A lot of people aren't aware you can survive zombies. Crossbows are your friend. So she's creating her own audiobook badly. But yeah, I love anything to do with tropes, especially common stuff that you see in fanfic. And one of the things that I can't remember the name of the trope, ironically enough, but there's a trope for when a particularly bad bit of canon comes out, like pretty much and forgive me, I'm about to start an argument in chat. The entire Star Wars sequel trilogy, with the exception of Finn and Rey, who I thought were awesome, and Poe. I know a lot of us Star Wars fans. Now, there were some people who are like, yeah, they're okay, they're fine. But there's a lot of stuff that they just threw together. It seemed like they were just kind of going into the old Star Wars grab bag and trying to figure out what people liked about the main trilogy and to a lesser extent the prequel trilogy. I think it's like there's a hashtag fixing canon or hashtag canon repair or something like that that my spouse likes to do fairly often. But there's one story though that's not in that universe, it's in the DC Comics universe, that I want to do a tribute read of, but someone's already done it. And it's called Empty Graves by an author named Unpretty on an archive of our own. Okay. And it is a story about how Ma Kent keeps having to shoot time travelers.
Keeps having to what?
To shoot time travelers.
Repeat that. Okay.
And I finally got I think I've got a fairly good Ma Kent voice that'll work and isn't a sound-alike.
Love it.
I'm going to have to revisit that because Pri and I just saw the 2025 Superman 2 nights ago.
Okay.
And I love literally everything about that movie. But now I have to revisit my Ma Kent voice because it may sound too much like the Ma Kent that they cast for that movie.
Okay. Gotcha.
And Maggie, was the Yash for the Fixing Canon thing or for Empty Graves? Have you read it?
I've been curious too.
Yeah, I want to know. In any event, if you have not been to an archive of our own, it is a very, very good site for fan fiction. I know a lot of authors in particular are divided on fan fiction. A lot of successful authors are like, hey, more publicity. And a lot of others are like, you're messing in my universe. You're playing with my toys. And it goes either way. Sometimes both at the same time, which is highly entertaining. But I enjoy it because it's a chance for people to cut loose and play with the toys.
Right.
I myself have 2 fanfics on there, and they're not very long. So if you look up Bruns works, I won't spoil them for you, except that they're both under 10 words. Actually, no, the longer one I think is 12.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. There was a joke about Pern and Star Trek Enterprise. I didn't see season 4.
What? Hold on, Perry, 1 second. I don't. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm hiding your face.
I'm intrigued.
What is that? Oh, sorry.
They actually had a Pern joke in Enterprise, though. That's. Forget what I was talking about. That's fun. And of course, Duck Duck Go Search completely goes off the rails.
Maggie says fixing canon and when sequel syndrome blows up.
Canon. Blows up canon, yep. And in particular, J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson seem to be having a war over what was canon as they were directing, because J.J. Abrams directed Star Wars: The Force Awakens, then Rian Johnson directed The Last Jedi, and then J.J. Abrams threw out a good chunk of The Last Jedi in the last film, The Rise of Skywalker. Oh, okay.
Okay, it's been a little while since I've seen.
Okay, that's pretty brilliant. That is pretty brilliant.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm going to show this because what? I have to read it. Sorry, Perry. 1 second. T'Pol says they are passing near the Ruckbat system where the system survey allegedly reported large flying reptiles that breathe fire. All righty.
Yeah, and that is the setting for the Dragon Riders of Pern.
What? Oh my, that's funny. I am going to completely embarrass myself by saying I've not read that series yet. The Dragon Riders of Pern.
I don't think that's embarrassing
It's on my to-do list for this year.
Yeah, there's so much good SF and fantasy out there.
TBR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my TBR was last under 4,000 when I was 25, which was longer ago than I care to admit.
Cough.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, that's quite. I love when references pop up, like the fact that in the Battle of Wolf 359, apparently there was a YT 1300 class freighter, i.e. the Millennium Falcon, in the deep background. And they slipped it in there just for funsies.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? I know that that Lucas and Spielberg have had a lot of fun with Easter eggs, so I'm sure they don't.
Oh, 100%.
So much. It's not. If it's way in the background, then it's not copyright. It's not infringement or anything like that.
So yeah, I guess if there is a favorite word, or phrase in fandom for me, I guess it would be Easter egg. Because I love when they pop up.
Oh, yes.
One that I just heard about today, and spoiler alert, if you're coming to Necronomicon, this may show up in one of the trivia games. But the Steam controller just came out for us gaming people.
Okay, which one is that?
The Steam controller. It's designed to work with the Steam Deck, which is...
I heard a little something about that, yes.
Yeah, it's Steam's very own bespoke console. And if you drop it, it screams. The accelerometer is designed to kick in and play a sound file that's hard-coded into the main. I think it's hard-coded in the main board. It may just be in the firmware for the RAM, in which case it can, or for the controller, in which case it could theoretically be reprogrammed. But why would you? Because when you drop it, it does a Wilhelm scream. Which, let me go way off axis here. It sounds like.
Excuse my here. Excuse me.
I don't do Wilhelm screams in my audiobooks, so authors, if you're listening to this, don't worry. But I do have to know how to do that because I also do improv. Speaking of things to be embarrassed about.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah, so you have to be able to make funny noises. Sometimes the button to end the bit is you make a funny noise and we all move on. The host shouts in scene and we're good. But yeah,
Oh
in fact, there really aren't too many sound effects in audiobooks. It's generally just voices.
that's very interesting.
Some of them, not ones I've read personally, do have some background sounds. Like if your characters are walking down a meadow path on a bright sunny morning, you might
Okay.
hear birds
Okay.
chirping, a little bit of wind.
Right.
Um,
Right. Or especially if, and I do believe, actually, now that I think of it, I have read some of Tim Zahn's Thrawn.
yeah,
um, Tim Zahn's Thrawn. I not very much of it, but I just wanted to, because I was reading it, a physical copy. Um, Gee, where did I buy it?
yeah. I envy his
um,
narrators. They get paid to read Tim Zahn books.
oh my God, can you imagine? But yeah, I do remember there being some, copyrighted sound effects happening. I was like, oh,
Yeah, well,
I thought that was
some of them are
interesting.
royalty free, but yeah, sometimes if it's
Trying
a
to do something.
like the Wilhelm scream is actually in the Warner Brothers sound library. You have to license that. Well, theoretically, you have to license that.
Sure.
I'm sure Steam did, but in general, well, the one thing I will say,
Sorry.
and this kind of bridges this maybe back on a topic, is I get booked a lot of cases for stories that require character voice. So I'll do my regular narrator voice where I'm just talking to you, the listener, and then I'll break off and I'll go into character for the dialogue. And that didn't used to be as
Okay.
prevalent. It used to be that you'd hear a slightly different voice for each character. But I get more and more direction to say if you have a clear take on the character that's a different voice, go nuts. Well, not go nuts, because people who've worked with me know I don't have a lot of limits.
Okay.
So if you tell me to open the throttle, I shall. But in general, though, I've really happy about a lot of the collaborations that I've done, and most of the audiobooks I've been have either been we're just going to turn you loose, have a go, or they'll say, send me some samples of the characters and we'll pick and choose. When I did Lucy Roads to Hell by Anna Rose, I sent her samples of all the voices I was considering for the different characters, many of whom were demons. And so had to be very distinct because of the way Lucy makes them. Without giving too much away, Lucy is literally Lucifer. And she is one of two title characters. The other is her secretary. And it's a rollicking good book. And another one that I can't believe I actually got paid to read. I get
Nice.
but yeah, it was my first audiobook and it was a lot of fun. Oh, and Maggie says in The Ghost with Cats, the character Annie has a strong Southern accent, but the rest of the character voices are pretty basic. That happens a lot, I feel. You'll have one character with a completely different background.
Especially if, because, and then when you're doing things like dialogue, in writing, it's that's a whole subject right here. But when you have a character with an accent, and how much you show in the dialogue about that. But anyway, yeah, that's a whole other ball of wax. But yeah, when you read it, when you're reading a character with an accent, yeah, that's when you communicate with your author, right, Perry?
About
what they want, and yeah, is there anything? And I know we were talking about this before we're going to do this. Excuse me, about all of that, about narrators and authors working together. And we were talking about things like where independent authors can find independent narrators. And there's a few websites you were talking about, like ACX.
Yeah, ACX is the 400-pound gorilla of the audiobook industry. They're owned by Amazon, which is handy because almost every author even those who don't necessarily want to will sell on Amazon. Unfortunately, that does come with certain restrictions because they are the big ones in the industry. But that said, they're a good place for independent authors to get noticed, to get their sales up. And ACX, Audiobook Content Exchange, is an excellent place that I should probably use more often. I don't go up on there and audition as often as I could.
Okay.
But it is a good place to find voice talent, especially because the vast majority of states in the U.S. are non-union. And audiobook readers tend, not a lot of the audiobook narrators that I've personally met have been SAG-AFTRA, which covers voice actors in other industries, including even video games now. The Screen Actors Guild and the American Federation of Television Radio Artists.
That's great.
But audiobook narrators generally don't have to join a union to get work. And by the same token, as authors, you don't really have to deal as much with SAG-AFTRA. Now, if somehow your book or your series becomes a gigantic runaway hit and someone massive like Scholastic, which is owned by Time Warner, and publishes a series about some magic school somewhere, if your book hits that level, that may change. Because I know that Jim Broadbent, who narrated most of the series that I'm talking about, if not all of them, did work directly with that author. And I know he's BAFTA, which is the British equivalent of SAG-AFTRA. And I think for anything that he does in the U.S., he works directly with SAG-AFTRA. I'm not sure if he maintains a membership, because that's all legal stuff that I'm sure all of our viewers and listeners are terribly excited about. But I live in Florida, as does Heather, and we're non-union right now because most of the work that comes by, whether it's in live action or on the microphone, for me is non-union. Oh, as a matter of fact,
it's breaking up a little bit and stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah, she asks, have you ever had a writer request a word or name pronounced differently for normal? I just did a play here in Tampa called X Does Not Equal X, in which I played one of the leads, Dean Colin Farrell, Dean Colin Hastings, and for reasons that I won't get into here because it's a long thing, the producer and the owner, the co-owner of Lab, had me pronounce protest as a verb as protest, which is a noun. I just made it part of my character and I went with it. And that's pretty much what I do in an audiobook. If a writer says, I want you to pronounce this word this way, I will take them at their word and I will just pronounce the word that way. In fact, Jim Broadbent actually, in an interview, talked about a discussion he had with the author of the Harry Potter series, because there is a point at which Harry folded up the map and pocketed it. And pocketed it is a very hard word phrase to say.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm doing his voice justice, because of course he's a legend in every industry he's in. But he was hoping that she would let him change it for the audiobook version, and the author said, under no circumstances, the audiobook has to be exactly like the printed text. And so then went through like 12 takes in the studio until they got one that worked, because it's a very hard thing to say conversationally. But yeah, when in doubt, I always defer to the author, because it is their work I'm presenting.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and Maggie did have, that question she had. And hold on one second, because I'm going to show it.
Yeah, the previous question is actually a really good question as well.
How hard it is to say some of the invented names for fantasy and sci-fi. And I believe we talked about this yesterday when we were talking.
If not, we've talked about it before.
Pronunciation guides.
Because in Lucy Roads to Hell, there are a lot of names that Anna invented for the story. And one of the reasons I got the previous short story that was my first work with her, she did a story called Tech Support, An Infernal Tale. And she had not thought about the pronunciation of one of the names in the story.
Okay.
And so I just threw one together and sent it to her, and she's like, "That's the one." So that was easy. That was just, let's try it, see what happens. When I don't get guidance from the author,
and that sounds like really good partnership going on.
Oh yeah, and the vast majority, again, anybody that I go back to, whether it's Anna Rose or Robert Westerfield, whose shirt I'm wearing right now, I go back to them because it's really easy to collaborate. Their instructions are clear, and I don't have to think about, well, why are they telling me to do this? I just do it. And they've got a very clear vision for their story and their characters. And I'm trying to remember. I'm actually going to. I know the sound of typing is such a wonderful thing.
That's okay.
I'd forgotten about the graphic novel. Well, anyway, but the character's name was very, very long and multisyllabic and had a lot of I'm trying to remember the expression for when you have multiple consonants together. I know a diphthong is multiple vowels that create a third sound. I can't remember the equivalent in consonants.
I just heard this somewhere recently. I can't think of it either. But
yeah, there's also a graphic novel, by the way. It's available on all major book sites, and it's a very, very good story. It's got a wonderful little twist, and I love short stories that end in that kind of weird beat. But yeah, sometimes if you don't have a guide from the author, it never hurts to ask, or just throw them a sample.
Right. And especially if it's not worked into the narration.
Yeah.
Then it's got to be harder, especially if they don't have a pronunciation guide within the manuscript.
Right. Now, for the book, I did a nonfiction book last year called Islam in the Heart of America. And that one did have a pronunciation guide because there are a lot of Arabic phrases in there. And someone like me who I have been to Bahrain, but I haven't really studied Arabic at all.
Okay.
What I mostly used when I was there was a series of like Berlitz pronunciation guides and other little pamphlets that the Navy gave me, and a lot of shopkeepers spoke English, so it actually worked out. But the Arabic vowel sounds are completely different to what I even learned when I learned Spanish and Japanese.
Okay.
And there are also differences when you read Romanized Arabic script, because if you're not trained in the Arabic alphabet, Arabic script is incredibly hard to read. So most of the time they just Romanize it.
Okay.
And even then the pronunciations are a little different than what you might expect on a cold read. So we had some conversations about that, but in the end, I think I put out a very good product for someone who does not speak Arabic. And it went quite well because of the fact that the author was willing to teach. They happened to be the Imam of Topeka, Kansas, so I kind of knew they were up for it. They're good at teaching things. I've been super lucky. The authors that I've worked with are so invested in their stories that they are very happy to answer any questions that an audiobook reader might have. And that just makes it easy to give them a story worthy of their text. And I would say that's my number one goal. When I take on a project, I want to help the author tell their story the best way possible. And that's consistent across audiobooks, stage work, or anything else I do. And they all inform each other. But yeah, in TLDR, TLDL, to Maggie's first question, yes, I do often get pronunciation guides. When I don't, I just ask or just send them a sample. I don't want to send something that I assume is going to be the finished draft and then have them go, no, wait. You've got to redo everything with this character's name in. or everything with this planet's name in, because that winds up being a lot of work. So I like to save us both a lot of time and trouble. And fortunately, again, every author I've been lucky enough to work with so far, where I've worked directly with an author, because there are times when I've done either licensed or public domain reads. I did a podcast for a couple of years in the heart of the pandemic called Calm Mystery for American Immersion Theater. And it was a free podcast that we put on where I read mystery stories. And sadly, I cannot collaborate with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle on how some of the... Yeah. Happily, though, I'm enough of an Anglophile that I worked out most of it without too much trouble. Yes, thank you. That is my very skeletal, I need to get back and put some content on it website, brunsworks.com. There is a content form on there.
I can relate.
Contact form. And if you want to contact me for anything involving actual work, I will be happy to get back with you. If it's a question about the process, I'll get back with you. If it's yet another advertisement saying you can be top on Google search, I'm going to put it in the round file. Because those waste their time and mine. But those are bots and they take milliseconds, but it takes me close to, sometimes 15 seconds to realize, spam, and click it away. I will put more stuff up on there, including my demos and all that. It's just things get busy. I only do a couple of audiobooks.
It's right there.
A couple of audio stories a year. Well, actually, right now I've only done 2 full-length books and then some short stories that are out there. But the vast majority of the stuff I do is either stage or commercial industrial, which does sort of pay the bills. But like corporate explainers, and I know people are so excited to hear about those.
It's like when I edited a book about politics about a year and a half ago, and yeah. But he made an effort to not make it dry, so good on him.
Oh yeah. I'm a big fan of there's a couple of a certain talk show host who has recently gone off CBS, and fortunately for everybody else and unfortunately for me, he read his own audiobooks. He narrated his own audiobooks.
Oh, wow.
If you ever get a chance, I Am America and So Can You.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Stephen Colbert is who I'm talking about. I'm actually cool with dropping his name, even though we haven't met. But yeah, I love his work, and he is such a engaging narrator because of all his work on stage.
Mm-hmm. That makes complete sense. Yeah, he's got quite the background, doesn't he?
He does. The first thing I ever saw him on was a little sketch show on Comedy Central back in the mid-90s called Exit 57. And then he went from there to Strangers with Candy.
That sounds familiar.
He played the art teacher, Joffrey Jelinek. Which is such a wonderful...
That's a great name for an art teacher.
It really is. And he... One of the things I love about a lot of his work is that he deadpans things. Now, he doesn't do it so much when he's hosting because he doesn't need to. Oh, I feel you there, Maggie. I also did a lot of
we can both relate to this.
Which is also why one of my favorite voice demos is I do an IVR, because I do a lot of IVR work. Phone menus. I have one demo that just says, "Thank you for screaming into the void. If you know the person you'd like to scream at, please scream their extension at this time." Because I figure, especially a lot of the dry demos that you don't pull from your actual work, I feel like if they can be anything, they should be anything. Have some fun with it. You might turn off a couple of people that won't book you because they think, "Oh, he's being funny." But
Maggie, I think that happened to me once. I think that happened to me once.
Oh yeah,
I had the same thing. I did a lot of retail where I answered phones, and then I also, what was I going to say? I I did some like office work that required me to answer phones quite a bit. So yeah, I used to get that too. I also got the thing where, you know, is this your mom, or is this my mother's name? I would say no. This is Heather, because apparently I sound a lot like my mother as an adult. So
I think we do.
Also, we were roommates for quite some time. So it's a thing.
Yeah, I think we do though. Well, I don't sound particularly like my mother, but then again, although funny story. As a kid, the one Mel Blanc Looney Tunes voice that I had more trouble with than any other. I won't claim to be perfect at any of them, but Bugs Bunny was the hardest voice for me to learn. And I didn't learn it until after my mother had passed on.
Okay.
Because my mother's real name was not Bunny. That was just what everybody called her because she hated her real name, Bernice.
Okay.
I think she has a valid point, or had a valid point. But I always thought they called her Bunny because it was a fun nickname, or because early in her life she did modeling, or because any number of things. But no, it occurred to me like 7 years after she'd passed away that they called her Bunny because she was from Staten Island.
Ah.
And the Bugs Bunny voice is... Mel Blanc never identified exactly where it was from. People would say Brooklyn or Bronx.
I think he said it was a combination of things.
It was a combination of different Eastern accents, but particularly New York. And within the 5 boroughs of New York.
Brooklyn and the Bronx and different things like that.
Yeah, she very much had the accent, Maggie. She thought she'd gotten rid of it. She went to speech therapy after she married my father and thought she got... But anytime she got upset or anytime she was being funny, oddly enough, which was quite a lot. My mom had jokes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And we have a friend, we have a family friend who is very much like that, but she's never tried to get rid of her accent. And so when she gets excited or she's around her family a lot, it really comes out. That's fascinating to me how accents work like that.
And I am a shameless accent thief.
I do that subconsciously.
Yeah.
If I'm listening to a lot of different I don't know, say podcasters or say YouTubers who are from a specific country or British in general. Of course, I'm such an Anglophile myself that I watch a lot of that, let's just say. So every once in a while, I'll catch myself saying, water. What? It's just water. Come on. It's water.
I, like a lot of kids like that in the genre, I grew up on a steady diet of Doctor Who and Monty Python.
That's a lot of it too, probably. Same.
Yeah, so I learned the received pronunciation,
History of silly walks.
Victorian British accent at the hands of Tom Baker and John Pertwee. And then I actually borrowed Sean Pertwee, his son, who famously played Alfred on Gotham, has a wonderful Cockney accent.
Who does?
Sean Pertwee.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Who is, if they ever bring back the Third Doctor and he is able to do it, because he's talked about before that they've offered him cameos as the Third Doctor, and emotionally he has said he doesn't want to do it because it just, it was part of his childhood. Or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he's talked about it in interviews. But yeah, if you listen to Sean Pertwee as Alfred on Gotham, it is such a wonderful. You could read me the phone book in that accent, and I'd be engaged. It's just because it isn't, because he comes at it honestly. He lived in those neighborhoods in London. Nowadays, we talk mostly about the estuary accent, which is a similar accent. It's from a similar region, but it's more relaxed. It's more modern. If you've watched David Tennant on Doctor Who, he uses an estuary accent that is not his native accent, which I didn't find out about until much later. He's Scottish, as many people know.
I didn't know it right away, but I learned about it not too long after I started watching it. as an adult when he was on. And so yeah, I thought that was interesting. And so yeah, or even when he was in that one Harry Potter movie.
He played Barty Crouch Jr. And he didn't have a lot of lines because there was that bit at the end with the teeth.
I know, mostly the thing with the.
I wonder if that was the genesis of one of his first lines after he became the Doctor.
Yeah.
Because it was that new teeth.
He does a lot with his. Yes, he does a lot with his mouth. I think it's probably in an effort to say things in a certain way. But hey, Maggie, real quick. Sometimes when I'm I'm not aware of it, but every once in a while, because I grew up in various places in the Southeast, let's just say, so among other places, but long story. But every once in a while, I will say things in a Savannah accent. I swear to God, it was only there for 3 years. But every once in a while, it'll come out. I'm like, okay.
That is a lovely
when I'm
accent.
not paying attention. I loved living there for many reasons. But yeah, that accent.
Although one thing I've learned about accents, particularly strong regional accents, is there is often no one way to pronounce one, which is why anybody who tells you that there's a different accent for each of the 5 boroughs in New York City is not telling you the truth. They're telling you that it may be their truth. It may be their experience that when they go to one area of New York that they hear different accents. But in truth, it's a blend.
It's especially since like so there's subtle variations, basically.
Yeah. And because a lot of people in New York City are not from New York City, but they gather bits of the accent that adds on to their native accent.
There's that too, yeah.
But like the one that I often bring in, especially when I'm playing a heavy, there are 24 or more American dialects.
Yeah.
There's a little more than accent in dialect, though, because some of the what makes up a dialect is also regional vocabulary.
I was going to say the same thing.
Louis Grizzard very famously had an entire segment on his party albums about Coca-Cola versus pop.
Yeah. Or soda. Or
soda. Like I say soda, even though I'm from Florida.
Another one. Or some people just say Coke.
Yes, I'll have a Coke.
Or
what kind
a variety of sodas.
Yeah.
Actually, my brother and I used Coke in that way. Let's get some Cokes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people do wherever they are in the U.S. And then
but I know that's a lot of countries anyway.
Oh yeah.
Will have different phrases for things or different quirky, not quirky, for lack of a better term here, but say, okay, I'm learning Welsh. So there's Northern Welsh is different from Southern Welsh, but in different ways you can say things, or sometimes and then sometimes those are just condensed into practically one word, things like that. I find that fascinating.
One of my favorite Britishisms, I think it's principally England and principally London, is, would you like a Diet Coke or a full fat Coke? And they will say that about anything that's not diet.
Full fat.
Yeah, even if it doesn't have, because traditionally Coke does not have fat in it. I'm sure they may make
it will make you make
you pork cracklings in there. But yeah, I know what Louis Grizzard, the opening of the segment is also the title of the segment. God talks like we do.
Louis Grizzard. Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, the columnist,
listening to
columnist
that
for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Yeah,
what kind of Coke do you want? I'll have a Sprite.
I used to read some of this stuff.
But yeah, there are a lot of regionalisms in every language, but especially American and British
absolutely.
English.
And okay, so maybe to kind of veer us a little bit closer to our topic is, so
right the ship.
I imagine, sorry, I imagine that that for accents you might try to reproduce, if you haven't been directed to do it, I imagine you do a lot of research.
Oh, absolutely.
Into this.
If someone says, I want you to sound like you're from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan as the narrator, well, I become a Youper. With a, oh yeah, excuse me, wait, stop. May I please have a cola flavored beverage? But yeah, wherever I'm supposed to be from, usually as a character, usually as a narrator, I'm usually doing a pretty generic accent and dialect for wherever the story is set. So if the story is set in the UK, then I'll usually be doing not quite RP, because a lot of people have kind of turned off from RP. The BBC or Shakespearean. They say Shakespearean English, but Shakespeare didn't talk anything like that.
What's it short for again? It's
received pronunciation.
Say one more time.
Received pronunciation.
Received. Oh yeah. Okay, got it.
It really rolls off the tongue when you say it in RP.
Proper.
So you're looking at things like non-rhotic R's where the R sounds like this instead of an R. Which is funny because everywhere else in the UK except in the south of England and parts of, I want to say parts of Wales, actually, because most of Wales, Ireland, certainly Northern Ireland and Scotland, and places like Yorkshire, Lancaster, Manchester, and the world.
Okay.
The R's are very strongly pronounced. They're very rhotic.
The hard R.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Right. And especially
and then
the West Country.
a lot of Welsh words though are supposed to be pronounced with the trilled R.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but apparently, it's worked its way into.
Yeah, and I get that a lot when I have, and I do a lot of work in podcasting or in commercials where they'll want me to sound like I'm from the north, and they'll throw an R at me. Oh, the Boston R. Oh, that's the exact reverse. That's about the least rhotic R in the world. That, and I won't say the phrase because I hate it with a passion. But you know the phrase I'm thinking.
The Boston Yard thing.
Yeah.
What's I forget the whole thing, but anyway, you don't have to do it if you don't want.
I'll go ahead and say it. Park the car in Harvard Yard, and
very good.
That is a Boston accent, but if you really want to get down and dirty with it, again, there's no one Boston accent because if you go to South Boston.
I can.
Yeah, the Forgotten
R.
Yeah.
I'll have to ask I have a friend who lives in that area. I'll have to ask them.
Yeah, and it's
the variety of
that the park the car thing doesn't really get. So it's a shortcut if you're trying to express that someone doesn't do a good Boston accent, but it's not really helpful when you're trying to get yourself into it. I don't, believe it or not, I don't do a lot of Northeast stuff. Northeast US at least.
Okay.
You get me out of New York City and I'm kind of lost when it comes to accents and dialect. Yeah, it's a super soft R. It's not heavily pronounced.
Oh no. Perry. There you go.
Oh, okay. There's a Scottish comedian named Frankie Boyle, and his R's are just and in particular when he was making fun of James Doohan, who played Scotty in Star Trek, who read audiobooks. He was an audiobook narrator for many years. He read I think he narrated about 20 or 30 of the Bantam and Pocket Star Wars or Star Trek books. Because he always had a gift for accents. In fact, when he went into audition for Scotty,
nice,
he gave him Scottish. We also gave him Irish because the whole thing with Scotty being Scottish was that in the days of the tall ships with the wooden masts, a lot of the carpenters and engineers were Scottish and Irish. Oh yeah, sure. Maggie is saying the Minnesota accent. Now I'm overdoing it wildly here, but the Minnesota accent does funny things with consonants. They do. Oh sure.
Yeah.
In particular,
that just makes me think of
Prairie Home Companion.
Edie McClurg.
Oh yes, from Ferris Bueller. Well, from everything, but
from everything. But she did a really good one. Really good Minnesota accent.
He was a righteous. He's a righteous dude. She was great.
Yeah.
Had I actually had the chance to work with her, that would have been a real gift.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
But yeah, Garrison Keillor, although his on stage was much more low key. He was the host of Prairie Home Companion for like 35, 40 years on NPR. Yeah, actually, it was American Public Media, but NPR was their main syndicator.
Right.
But he read his own audiobooks. Some authors do that, and some do it well.
Yes, yes.
I don't know if Stephen King reads his. I don't know if he has the time.
Yeah, he's very, very busy guy.
Yeah, so I imagine he probably casts narrators.
That's something to look into. I'm curious.
Oh yeah. I don't think I ever fully answered the very first question, and we're an hour in.
And I was just like,
if you are an author and you want to find audiobook readers, ACX is a great source. If you only go to one website, ACX should probably be it, just because of the sheer volume of people who can do the type of narration.
Wide variety of things.
I do a lot of work on voices.com.
Okay. So how are these organized? How are these websites organized? I did not get a chance to go to look at one of these today, but so you told me about AC. Of course, people know about ACX, but Voice123 and what's it called? BunnyStudio.com.
Yeah. Now, Bunny Studio does primarily the back end casting. They will match out with clients, but they don't do as much in terms of audiobooks as they do like the technical stuff for podcast ads and other drop-ins.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay.
If you need to read an explainer or a commercial, and you don't want to do it yourself, you cast a voice actor from Bunny Studio. They used to be considered, well, the original creator of them originally considered them to be a gig work job, like you want to be the Uber of audio, and work out as well. So he pivoted. Voice123 is gig work. Most audio is gig work, but they don't bid down the way I think he was originally intending to. He's kind of an entrepreneurial type. But Voice123 is good for audiobooks, commercial, industrial. Voices.com, where I hang out a lot of the time, is also that. But as an independent, one of the resources that is quickly gaining traction and quickly gaining steam is a site called castingcallclub.com. And it is a brilliant site to find all kinds of voice talent for anything you want to do. No matter how simple.
Casting Call Club?
Castingcallclub.com.
I will be putting as many links in the chat in the description as possible.
And Maggie, you bring up an excellent point about ACX. They do, in fact, let voice artists work for pay or royalty shares, presumably some combination of both. I haven't booked off ACX. I've submitted to ACX. That is the industry standard for audiobook quality. And it is also the first thing that most beginning editors struggle with, because I, like most VOs, I edit my own work for the most part. Or at least I render it. In the case of a podcast, usually I send them the raw files, and whoever's editing just takes it and processes it, and they deal with that. But in terms of audiobooks, generally what my authors are paying for is ACX ready content. So chapter by chapter, peak audio, no lower or no higher than -3 decibels, noise floor below 60 decibels and above 90 decibels, or negative, sorry, below -60 and below negative, or let me restart again. The ACX audio standard, which will live in your head like a tiny elf once you get it down, is a peak noise or peak volume of no more than -3 decibels and a noise floor, like background noise, no higher than -60 and no lower than -90. And that will throw people, because people will assume that you want the noise floor to be as low as humanly possible. But for whatever reason, the human ear picks up anything below -90 decibels as unnatural sounding. It sounds processed because it has to be. The only time you're going to find a noise floor that low is they have these really high-tech anechoic chambers that you go into where you literally can't hear anything. And after a while, if you're in there too long, you'll start hearing the blood pumping through your ears. You'll start hearing like, so it's like a telltale heart thing. So ACX says -60 to -90. And then the other thing that throws people is the thing that threw me for years until I finally got it, well, months, until I finally got it right, is there's a thing called RMS, root means square. And all you have to know is it's an audio statistic. It's the power by which your voice is heard. And that has to be between 18 and 21 RMS. ACX is one of the few companies that uses it. Most people go with a different way of averaging out sound power. But as long as you meet those standards and you sound good, you don't have a lot of mouth noise or breath noise or anything like that, then your work is ACX ready. And so when I book through Voices or I book through Casting Call Club, they will say, I want this content in ACX format. Because that way it plays through Audible, it plays through Amazon Music, it plays through literally every podcast app in the world, and it sounds fine. It's a good, solid benchmark that most people can hit. And it's also a good reason, if you're an author, to hire an audiobook narrator, because we take that stuff on board. Unless you happen to have somebody that you want to use as an editor, we are generally going to do the editing for you. And that's included in the cost.
That's good to know. I hadn't researched it that far, so that's good to know.
And most folks who do a lot of work in the industry will have a workflow down to where it's not going to be like, I don't know anybody that charges that much extra. Like, I'll occasionally, if a book is like, or if a project is like 20 hours of finished audio and I'm doing the editing, I might tack on a little bit, but that'll be reflected up front in the quote. And there's all kinds of ways that authors and narrators can work out that. But in general, I do it, and every narrator I know does it. We quote everything up front. So your book is 100,000 words. That usually breaks out to about 10 to 12 hours of finished audio. And then we just record it. Editing is included in that process. And if I can't make the workflow keep the process quick and simple, then that's on me, not on the author. So these days in 2026,
I get that.
Your narrator is going to tend to be a one-stop shop. Either that or if they absolutely are terrible at it, they'll hire somebody who knows how to render audio to that standard. But in my experience, it's just easier to learn it.
That makes complete sense. It is almost 1:15.
Yeah, we finally got good information.
The hour that we'd said we were going to create a goal and not say good night, any later than say 30 after the hour. But that said, we can also sort of go back to the events in a way.
Yeah.
When we do our outros, because we need to tell we need to tell everybody what we're doing and all of that stuff when we do that. but we can talk about this one event that's coming up next month in just about 4 weeks.
Yes.
That we will both be at, which is called Southern Media Con, by the way.
Yes.
And just FYI, we are both involved in, and to be completely transparent, we are both, Perry and I are basically on the board for the organization that runs both Necronomicon Tampa as well as Southern MediaCon, which is Necronomicon Tampa's, we call it the Little Sister Con. So anyway, I do believe I've put a link to information about those two already in the description. So, but again, I'll make sure everything's there that needs to be there, that I mentioned. But we could start our outros because it might be kind of long.
A little bit.
You can go first, Perry.
Okay. You can find me to book me at brunsworks.com or at voices.com. Those are the primary places. I will be putting my new demos up on Casting Call Club, ACX, etc. You can find me socially at Brunsworks on all the socials except for that one. Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm not on Twitter. And I'm staff for Stonehill. I'm the guest liaison for Necronomicon 2026. If you want to be a guest at Necronomicon, please contact me on social media.
Absolutely. And what is there anything else that you wanted to talk about that you're doing right now, or performing in?
Oh yeah, coming up. I'm not doing public shows with American Immersion Theater and the Murder Mystery Company yet because we don't yet have a public venue. We are the last troupe for the Murder Mystery Company in the country that does not have one. We are working on it. But I do shows for the Murder Mystery Company where we come out and we kill someone for you, usually me. And then we guide you through solving the mystery. There's a ton of comedy. It's a lot of fun for everybody. We do have a couple of all ages shows. And we've got shows set in any background you can think of, whether it's the golden age of Hollywood, the 1980s. We now have a new show for the 1990s. Our gangster shows are always usually popular. The other thing I'm doing is I'm going to be at Tampa Fringe this June. We're doing a show called The Patriot Games. And that is with some of my partners in the other thing that I'm doing, which is Tampa Metropolitan Improv, which is public. That one is at Carrollwood Cultural Center every month. Our next show is May 29th. It starts at 7 p.m. and it runs until we get kicked out. But practically speaking, it's about 2 hours.
Nice. That sounds like a lot of fun, actually. I would love to see an improv show. It's been, let's just say it's been decades since I've seen an improv show.
Well, ours is fun and it's cheap.
There was one around here decades ago. It was something about a banana. It was banana in the title. That sticks out in my head for some reason.
I don't know that one. I know there's us, there's Tampa Metro Improv, there's Greenlight.
It's like like late 80s and early 90s or something. I don't know. Tampa Bananas? I don't know.
That could be. Anyway. Could be. I know I seem to recall there were a couple of improv troops in the early 90s, but I was out of the country at that time.
Oh. Yes, because you were, anyway. Okay, so that is where we can find you. Give us all your contact information. I guess I can do an outro as well. Thank you very much for coming, Maggie. You're welcome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I will not cover your face anymore now.
Oh, please. I have a face for audiobooks.
No. That said, you have a lovely voice. Anyway, and I'm Heather. I'm Heather Dewey Pettit. And let's see. I currently have a lot of projects happening, but I'm also trying to edit my nonfiction book that I've been working on for, it's been a couple of years, probably about 3 years by now, that since I started working on it. It is called the Fairy glossary and guide for writers. And guess what? It's well, let's talk more about Great Britain for a second, because it is a sampling. It's a small sampling of types of fairies from the UK. I should say from Great Britain, from the whole of Great Britain, and as well as let's say I go into talking about the main groups, say like house fairies, which like brownies, etc. And other main groups like that, and then so the types are within that. So that's the way it's organized in the first half, essentially. And there's other information in there too, things about appropriation and things to keep in mind, like let's just say some types of fairies are problematic. So without going into a lot of detail about that at the moment, other projects are working with Stonehill Science Fiction Club, who runs both Necronomicon Tampa as well as Southern MediaCon. So again, that's in June. The last weekend of June, is that correct? Am I saying that correctly?
Let me double check.
I'm like, is that right? I think that's right. That sounds right.
Southern MediaCon 2026 is Friday, June 12th, 2026 through Sunday, June 14th.
Thank you very much. I was like,
I will only be there for parts of it because Tampa Fringe is on at the same time. I double booked myself again.
Oops.
Yep.
So yeah. Yeah, I'm let's see, what else do I have? Oh yes. The following Wednesday, I will be at the Felicitous Coffee House's they're having a sort of a specialty night market. It's going to be a little witchy, a little fairy-like, and I'm selling my art there. So there's that, and then I can't think of anything else at the moment, but I'm also I will be making sure I have my links below as well. But essentially, I am everywhere at Heather Dewey Pettit Edits, because I am a freelance editor, do a wide variety of things like line editing and copy editing and sensitivity reading, among other services. So feel free to reach out. And I think that's everything that I really wanted to say and talk about. Thank you so much for, oh my goodness, the Faith Compendium. Perry needs a clone. A clone.
I tried it. It didn't go well.
Oh my goodness. This has been so much fun talking to you, Perry. I know we could probably talk for at least 2 hours. We could do what Liz and I did last year. I don't know if you saw that one from Liz Schechter and I did last year.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, let's just say we talked for a very long time.
Oh, she's terrific.
Anyway, I love talking to her. So, alrighty. Thank you so much. I will stop talking now. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. If you liked this video, now you're just distracting me, Maggie. If you liked this podcast video, whatever you want to call it, liking is I'm sorry, starting to stumble on my words. Liking, subscribing, and sharing, and all of that stuff is very helpful, of course. I really appreciate it. And alrighty, well, let's say goodnight, Perry.
Good night, Perry.
Oh, yeah, I should have known.
Too easy.
Yeah. All right. Well, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Maggie. All right. I will see everybody later, and maybe I'll have Perry back before Necronomicon. All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.